Hello, Sensei Cisco here, Sensei Martial Arts. In today's video, we'll continue our look at the basic class Blue Stripe, also known as our deflective blocks. Now for each class type, or each class level in our studio, we take a look at a progression of skills for one specific technique type. In basic, this is our deflective blocks. If an attack comes in towards us, how do we remove the attack without adjusting our own position? These take primarily in the form of Jodan Uke, Chudan Uke, Ura Chudan Uke, and Geidan Uke, the high, out, in, and low blocks. Now, in our last video, we took a look at the 10th Kyu, or white belt level, which really focused primarily on just using Shikadachi to deliver these strikes. Where are they aiming? How are they set up? Where do they end? So just getting the general coordination for how these motions work in and of themselves. Now, at the yellow belt level, or 9th Kyu, we're going to take a look at how these motions can work with our stances, adding some motion into it. So stepping from Shikadachi to Zenkutsu down a line. This also will encourage us to be switching sides from left to right pretty consistently. So every step, it changes the angle in which we are presenting. Now the purpose behind this drill is major coordination. We're just looking at getting our bodies to understand how these motions work together. The second purpose is timing, because we want a sequence of operations. If you've ever watched one of our kata videos, you know I'm a stickler for the step, set, strike. We want to plant ourselves in a position, aim our technique, and then deliver that technique. The step, set, strike sequence starts very slow, almost choppy in its presentation. But then with experience, we can increase the speed of this as our body learns what these positions should feel like, where things should be angled for maximum efficiency. So today we're going to take a look at that, how our feet move with Shikadachi and Zenkutsu working down a line, and when the hands are going to be added in for the blocks, as well as throwing a counter punch after each block. So without further ado, let's take a look. So before we even get into Jodan, we want to make sure our feet are working right. Because if our feet aren't in position, if we're not in the correct stance, everything starts to fall apart. You're not going to have the stability and strength to push that strike into your target. So let's go ahead and drop our attention down. We're going to take a look at our feet. All right, now we're down close to the floor. So we're going to look at the angles of our feet and how Shikadachi and Zenkutsu work together as we walk a line. First thing we want to take a look at though is how these two work in an angle together. How are they related? So Shikadachi, we can think of if I'm facing forward. Right now my feet are both equal distance to my target. And when I turn Zenkutsu, what's going to happen is one heel is going to push out. As that happens, the knee pushes straight and locks to position. So now I have one toe facing the corner and the opposite toe facing the front. I can then draw that heel back in and I'm back to Shikadachi. Push the heel out, pressing my weight to the bent side. Sit in the center, sit to the side. Sit to the center, sit to the side. Now, the other important part of this is where's my chest facing? At the moment, for Shikadachi, my chest is going to be forward, sort of squared up here. As I turn into my Zenkutsu, my chest turns with it. Because what I'm looking at is my hips and how they relate with my feet. My shoulders should always remain in line so that my hips are here, my shoulders are on top. I don't want to rotate and take my shoulders off that center. So as long as our shoulders remain over our hips, we should be okay. Then we can just think about where our hips are in relation to our feet. All right. So Shikadachi, Zenkutsu, my hips are both equal distance in the direction of the lead toe. Shikadachi Zenkutsu. Now this is just how it can turn in place. And our Zenkutsus kind of work on a 90-degree angle from each other. I'm facing here. Now I'm facing here. We can also look at where my knees are pointed. My knees are 90 degrees out from each other. If I bring my toes in, you'll see my heels point the toes out with a nice square corner, like on a box, so that I can turn my attention towards one of those box directions. Now, as I walk, this is going to change, because to walk, I need to have one foot in front. That means my shikadachi is no longer squared up with my opponent, but rather sidestepped. So now my lead toe can point towards the direction I'm moving, and my rear toes can be turned out to the side. There's my shikadachi. Then I can push the heel out as I lock the knee, squaring up the hips and shoulders, and now I'm facing towards my target. To step, I'm going to keep that knee bent, draw together, so I'm in sort of this seated position before pushing out to the new shikadachi. Now my new toes are facing ahead, and my old toes are facing the side. And I can rotate by pressing the heel. Let's take a look at this from another angle. Walking down the line sideways, point the lead toes, turn the hips so the heel pushes out on the back side. Draw it in and out. Now notice my toe, I'm facing forward here. As I step out, my new back toe is going to push that heel in to kind of help thrust me forward before it pops back out for the Zenkutsu. Draw in, pop out for Zenkutsu. And there we have the stepping motions that we'll need when we get up top. So let's get up top. All right, now that we're up top, we can take a look at how our hands are going to move in relation to these steps we just did. Now keep in mind how our feet should be lined up for each step, as when we do the motion of step before the set strike, this is the thing I want you thinking about. How are my knees angled? How are my hips? Where are my toes pointed? All of these pointers should come to mind every time you step, at least while you're doing this early training. Even when you're more advanced, go back and review this, make sure it is still being applied consistently. So now we can take a look at how our blocks and our punches fit into these stances. The easy way to say this is shikadachi blocks, Zenkutsu punches. The reason for this is our shikadachi allows us to be sort of mobile. Shikadachi lets us move and react much easier. And when we're on the defense, we want to have that option. We want to be able to have freedom of motion and not be committed to an attack. It's not until we make an attack that we want to really devote all of our strength and attention into that singular point for maximum efficiency, for maximum power. So, shikadachi to block, Zenkutsu to strike. But we still have our lineup, so how do we fit that in? Well, we pause. We're going to keep everything frozen, either above the belt or below the belt for each step, for each part of the sequence. Now we're going to have 6 motions, or 6 different positions as we move through each routine. And we have 4 routines because high block, outside block, inside block, low block. With 6 positions, that's what, 24 positions to memorize? But don't worry, it's not as big as that sounds, because a lot of these are going to repeat. The stances are the same. The punch is the same. The only thing that's going to switch is the set and strike for each of the 4 blocks. Our first block will be Joranuke, or the high block. Now here we're going to take a look at, first we'll do a side angle view of the steps, and then a forward angle for you to mirror my actions. Now feel free to move alongside me as we go, And we're gonna do the same for the outside, inside, and low. So first with Jodan, we're gonna start in our yoi position. We'll take a step out with the left foot, dropping immediately into our shikidachi. Now my hands haven't moved yet. I'm just focusing on my feet. So I can check my position, all right? Lead toes are pointed, back toes are off to the side. I'm sitting down with my knees over the feet, shoulders are back, so I'm nice, I got good posture. And then I can move into step 2, the shield. Now my lead foot is gonna be my blocking hand. So my rear hand is creating the vertical shield so that my lead hand can draw and then go into step 3, the delivery of that strike. For step 4, I'm gonna turn the Zenkutsu, pressing the back heel out as I turn the hip in. 5, aim my punch, bringing pinkies together like we learned at white belt. And 6, deliver the counter punch towards the face. Again, they struck Jodan, so I'll strike Jodan. Let's take a look again. Ich. Again, as I stepped. Remember what we talked about, step with our feet together before pushing out. Then ni, set the shield. Sun, deliver. Shi, turn it in. Go, line it up. Roko, deliver. Ich, my hands stay frozen for now. Ni, sun, shi, go, roko. Now let's set a mirror. So I want you to work towards me, kind of copying how I look on these different angles. So stepping out, I'm gonna step out with my left foot. You're mirroring, I want you to step with your right foot. Ich, ni, sun, shi, go, roko. Now Zenkutsu, we mentioned how we stay squared up. That means my hips and shoulders are both even to the target. When I punch, I'm not reaching. I'm not gonna push that shoulder out and lunge for it. Keep it reserved. Punches are short. Keep it short. Ich, ni, sun, shi, go, roko. Ich, step to shikirachi. Ni, set your shield. Sun, deliver the block. Shi, turn to Zenkutsu so you can apply that hip power. Go, line up the punch. Roko, deliver your punch. And that is our Jodan Uke with a Jodan Zuke attached. Paying special attention to the step, set, and strike for each position. Step to Shikidachi, set and strike the block. Step to Zenkutsu, again, stepping referring to shifting of weight. Set the punch and deliver. Now our next 3 blocks are going to work very similar. The only change is the shield and delivery of the block itself. The other steps, 1 Shikirachi, 4 Zenkutsu, 5 aim, and 6 punch. Those are all the same. The only steps change are 2 and 3. The shield and delivery of block. So, let's take a look. Judan Uke. Ich. Ni. Lead hand is on the outside. Sun. Shi. Go. Roko. Returning the punch towards the chest. Ich. Ni. Sun. Shi. Go. Roko. Ich. Think feet only. How's your stance? Ni. Setting your shield. Is it lined up? Palms out. Sun. Shi. Turning it in. Are you squared up? Go. Pinkies drawn together. Roko. Push and pull. All right, set up your mirror, stepping with your right foot on my left. Ich. Ni. Sun. Shi. Go. Roko. Ich. Ni. Sun. Shi. Go. Roko. Ich. Ni. Sun. Shi. Go. Roko. And then we have Chudan Uke. Now keep in mind that as we're moving, I'm never standing up. My stance is ensure that I stay one level throughout. Let's apply it to the next one. Ura churanuke. Ich, ni, setting the lead hand as my block. Top of the L, san, ni, san, shi, go, roko. Ich, ni, san, shi, go, roko. Ich, ni, san, shi, go, roko. Coming forward. Ich, ni, san, shi, go, roko. Ich, ni, san. Now notice here when I draw, my wrist is lining up with the back shoulder between me and the target. That means here, this looks in line. But if I were to adjust, keeping my arm in the same position, well now, it looks like an outside block. The reason is, I'm angling the block towards the opponent. As a white belt, we're set in shikurachi, meaning my opponent's here in front and I draw all the way across the body. But if I'm angled on the body and I bring that hand all the way back, all that's happened now is I've exposed my face. I've drawn much further than is necessary for the block. So an inside block will now draw from the outside shoulder to the front shoulder, outside shoulder to the front shoulder as it relates to me. But as it relates to opponent, back shoulder to opponent. This is where it gets a little goofy and how things are perceived. One more. Ich, ni, san, shi, go, roko. And there we have our ura churanuke. Last one. Gedanuke. Ich, ni, san, shi, go, roko. Ich, ni, san, shi, go, roko. Ich, ni, san, shi, go, roko. Coming up to the front. Ich, ni, san, shi, go, roko. Now let's take this extra slow because there's something happening here that maybe some of you picked up on. Ich, I step, I check my stance. Shikurachi looking good. Ni, as I draw this shield. Then backhand is going low, very much like a gedan zuke. I'm punching to the bottom. Meanwhile, the lead hand that was just out and punched is going to draw in to the bicep. Now, this draw looks like something we just did. It looks like an ura churanuke, an inside block. So really what I'm doing here is a low punch with an inside block to get my setup. And then I can roll into step 3, the traditional gedan uke. Then turn to zenkutsu, aim the punch, and punch low. Ich, ni, san, shi, go, roko. And we have our gedan uke. And that'll do it for our 9th Kyu Blue Stripe, the yellow belt defensive blocks. Be sure to rehearse this sequence of step, set, strike for shikurachi, shield, and block, turn, zenkutsu, aim, and punch. Over time, these actions will reduce in time, or at least the amount of time it takes between them. So we'll go from step, set, strike, step, set, strike, shikurachi, shield, block, zenkutsu, aim, punch, boom, boom, boom. And then this rhythm can increase till we're moving super fast and it's almost indiscernible for when the step happens and when the block happens. Going from step, set, strike, step, set, strike, to step, set, strike, step, set, strike, to step, set, and strike. But the important thing is our feet will reach our target before our hands do. By rehearsing slow, we teach the muscles how to coordinate with each other to go you first, then you, then you. Much like a whole room of people trying to rush through a single door. One person goes through at a time, because if the whole crowd tries to get through, it gets clogged up and people can't get through. It gets stopped. Same thing with our strikes. If we try and punch before the Zenkutsu, the punch loses all of its oomph. So, train slow, train methodical, and then increase speed with proficiency. But, as always, refer to your instructors, your coaches, your senseis to add this to your repertoire. If you are a member of Sensei Martial Arts, make sure you're doing this regularly. This is going to be on your examination. But I hope this helped. Practice diligently, practice with focus, and I'll see you in the next one. Arigatou gozaimasu. Bye-bye.